So Phil, you basically know how to play the bass, the guitar, the drums, the marimba, the vibraphone. What else? What other instruments do you know how to play?
Uh, some trumpet,
Trumpet,
trombone,
trombone.
baritone sax,
Wow, all the brass
theremin.
basically.
Most of them, yeah.
Most of them. Wow, and you play the harmonica, of course.
Oh yes, I do that.
Would you label yourself? Would you deem yourself as a multi-instrumentalist?
Oh, very much so.
Wow, that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
what?
If I could get my hands on an instrument, I would figure it out.
Jeez. So, by way of elimination, what instrument do you not
The
not
ones
know?
I don't play,
The ones you don't play,
the string family, violin, viola, cello.
but basically guitar and bass up
Yeah,
part of the string family, and you know how to.
pluck strings, not bowed strings.
Okay, so the pluck strings, but basically you would have been able to learn how to play the bowed strings, basically based on their similar
Yeah,
design.
if I had a violin, I could probably figure it out, but I would
Wow.
probably play it backwards like I do with the guitar and
Yeah,
bass.
but you're unique because you're like a left-handed, or I'm not, ambidextrous. How do you call it? Something with dexterous. Like you're the left-handed guy.
I have learned to play guitar regular and upside down.
Wow. So you know how to play both the left-handed, even though you're left-handed, but you know how to play.
I had to learn a left-handed guitar in order to do three-finger picking.
And you know how to do it the right-handed. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I've done that my whole life, and
You're very talented.
bowed strings and double reeds are the only instruments I don't play.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me about a little bit about your I'm very curious. You're a very interesting person.
You are curious.
I'm curious. I want to know, like, what? Give me a little bit of a background about your musical experience.
Well, ever since I was a child and I used to watch Bugs Bunny play every instrument there is, I said, that's what I want to do.
Okay. Yeah. No. I want to know what have you done? Accomplished your CV, your resume. What have you done? Not just what do you know how to play, or what have you done, accomplished, achieved?
Well, I've played percussion with local orchestras. I played keyboards and bass with various rock and jazz groups.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my highest honor happened in Florida when I was in a Frank Zappa band playing bass and vibraphone and that.
Like a tribute band.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you said something about a cruise. You were playing for the cruise in Florida?
I did play bass on cruise ships for 7 years.
7 years? That's impressive.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
So I learned almost every song there was.
Have you ever received any accolades, any award, reward, anything like from, something that basically said that you're distinguished? Did you receive any award or any recognition?
Not lately, but once I get this concerto I'm writing finished, I think that's going to put me on the map.
Will you care to elaborate for our listeners, viewers? What concerto is it?
Well, without giving too much away, this is the first time that anyone has ever written for a pinball machine to be played with an orchestra.
Wow! If I were to hire you, like a band manager, were I to hire you, why should I hire you instead of someone else? What are the reasons I should hire you instead of someone else?
Because I can play anything from 1913 to 1985.
1913, you mean like sheet music, right? Like Tin Pan Alley and everything else?
Yeah, the Great American Songbook.
Ooh.
Many classical pieces.
Gershwin, jazz?
Yeah, Gershwin's a great classical composer.
What genres do you play? Blues, bluegrass, rock and roll, rock?
I've done bluegrass, I've done jazz, I've played everything from Allman to Zappa.
What about classical music? Do you venture into it?
Yeah, well, I've played everything that a local orchestra will play. Most
Jeez.
local orchestras won't do much 20th century music.
Wow. And hell yeah, I'm very very impressed by your knowledge and your experience.
Yeah,
So
I just didn't count on music changing as dynamically as it did from 1985 till now.
so so for basically, if I would like to send my kids to take some classes, some lessons, what phone number would how would you be able to be contacted? What phone number can I should I call?
You should use my landline,
Which is
716. Don't tell me. 634-1516.
so area code 716. This
Yep.
is Buffalo, New York.
That's correct.
And what's the number?
634
634
1516.
1516. This is Phil. He's a great music teacher. Here's one of his students here, James. He's been making huge strides, and I've actually personally witnessed Phil teaching James for the last 2-3 months, and James has improved impressively. I mean, 3 months ago,
Good practicer.
practice, yeah. And 3 months ago, James just purchased a guitar. He basically knew nothing about the guitar, nothing. Do you know how to read the notes? Do you know how to play? And Phil, would
I
you?
got his right hand doing things it probably never did before.
Yeah, and how is James doing now? Well, what's
His rhythm is getting solid. He's starting to feel the 4 count.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found out a moment ago he's actually tuning into the tonality of the melody and knowing
Wow.
when to change chords
Yeah.
in response to it.
Yeah, James, tell the viewers at home, why, how do you feel about? I mean, I'm listening from the side, you know, like a fly on the wall. I'm very impressed. So every week, I notice you're making strides thanks to Phil, but also your own discipline, your own practice at home, your own rehearsal. How do you feel from your perspective? Like, well, you know, how do you feel? How would you describe your jamming and strumming and practice?
Well, I feel that's been going very well. I feel like I've learned a great deal from Phil, and I feel like I could actually do this music professionally, something that I used to not imagine.
Phil, what's your goals? What's your goals in regard to James? What would you like to see him improve or accomplish, achieve? What?
Well, I would like to see him be able to accompany himself on a song.
Mhm.
So that means projecting the voice and combining it with what he's strumming. And because my goal is to make him compatible with other musicians, and that demands a lot
Yeah.
as far as playing with a count and with other people.
Exactly, and I was gonna ask the next questions. What do you think should James do to work on himself to improve more? Like, what is like the weak things that weak links that you think you'd like James to rehearse more and work on? What are the?
Number one,
Mhm.
changing chords faster,
Okay,
which means thinking ahead of the downbeat.
think
The
I have
ding on the
downbeat.
metronome gives us that downbeat.
I know this. He's been doing it, and that's great. Yeah, and what's the other things areas?
Number two, knowing. Number two, feeling the 4 count and acting along with it,
Okay,
because music is mathematics.
exactly. James,
Yes.
where do you see yourself in like in about a year, music wise? Musically.
Well, imagine I could probably do some acoustics in a bar at the least.
Mhm.
I'd probably end up joining a band at one point.
Would any of you like to write songs, like to lyrics, music, and or both?
I'm not really a song-driven person. I've written 2 songs and they're copyrighted. They're registered with ASCAP, but I much prefer writing for orchestra. I'm more
Wow.
an instrumental person.
James, what about you?
Well, yeah, I haven't really thought much about like new songs to make, but yeah, I probably could like come up with a few. Although, yeah, yeah, I know it would take a lot of work for me to get any down. Mostly I just wanted to like broaden my creative skills, and I have enjoyed singing at karaoke events. So basically, I thought it'd be good to learn to play guitar, and I also thought that it would help me to have better luck on a dating site.
Cool. James, what are your expectations of Phil? What would you like to see Phil do as a teacher, as a tutor, instructor?
Well, probably probably good for him to start off seeing what his students have already picked up from the instrument, and also show them how each note is made, and also he has been asking me about songs I'd like to learn how to play, and I think that's a pretty good step to help with mastering the instrument.
Yeah, work with what you love, the songs you like.
Exactly. And for conclusion, I noticed that basically James is eager to learn, and Phil is very patient teaching, and every week I noticed that James implements what Phil was teaching him, and especially what I think the 2 things that James needs to work on. As first is a timing thing, but he's been making great strides using my metronome, utilizing it. And the second thing is
best friend.
Yeah, synchronizing the music. But third thing is kind of like rote memorizing, and not looking at the sheet, but also
Muscle memory.
On the other hand, I noticed James has been doing it. It's just like what I feel like, more like the what Phil had mentioned. You had mentioned about James needing to improve the coordination with the chords, from D, A, E, A, G, things like that.
Right, it needs to be a little more seamless, but he's getting there.
Exactly. Cool. Phil, James, thank you very much, and
You're most welcome.
all right. Bye bye.